Boxing's heavyweight division is going through a bit of a transition period with the likes of Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and Alexander Usyk, the four horsemen of this generation, gearing up for their final couple of fights. With them almost ready to set off into the sunset one by one, that will make way for the next era to come through and make their mark on the sport. The most talked about prospect in this new generation of heavyweights is Moses Itauma, and he is about as legit as you can get. At only 20 years old, he's been climbing up the heavyweight rankings at a very steady pace, and in the next 18 months, I'm 100% certain he will obtain some version of a world title. You've probably heard him already if you're in the UK and follow the sports, but I can't wait until he really makes a name for himself knocking out a high-ranked heavyweight. I first heard mentions of his name a couple years back. However, it wasn't until I was watching the Fury vs Usyk undercard where I got a glimpse of what he could actually do. His opponent was Dempsey McKean. Not a terrible boxer by any stretch, but not a world beater either. Queensberry chose this opponent for Moses so he can get some rounds in and build some professional experience up. I mean, it took Filip Hrgović all 12 rounds to stop Dempsey. Moses knocked him out in the first. The power of Moses Itauma, whatever, is devastating, and it can probably carry him to winning a world title alone. However, he also has lightning quick reflexes and punch speed for a heavyweight, and the more you watch his fights, as short as they end up being, the more you can see why Queensberry picked him up. Queensberry has plenty of time to mold his career, and if they wanted, they could feed him tomato can after tomato can that he could bowl over in a round or so, in order to build up his record. That being said, he's been compared to Mike Tyson for his explosive punching power, of course, but also because of Moses' aspirations to become the youngest heavyweight champion. Unfortunately, that record can't be broken by Moses anymore, he's too old. But him even declaring that a dream tells me that he wants to fight the top guys as fast as possible. I love this approach, and I appreciate fighters going for lean boxing records filled with world-class names, rather than padding a record out with 50 journeymen. Regarding records and resumes, to me it's never about having a large number of wins. It's about your opponents. A fighter is only as good as his opposition and who is beaten. So with Moses steadily climbing the rankings, who are and will be his contemporaries inside the division? Since Moses is only 20 years old, I really just want to mention boxers who are under 30. Of course, I think that guys like Martin Bakole, Fabio Wardley, and Filip Hrgović will be top contenders within this next generation of heavyweights. However, this is my list of who can hang with Moses Itauma in terms of age and longevity. The first man that should be mentioned is Daniel Dubois. Triple D fought some stiff competition back in his mid-20s. Joe Joyce, Big Baby Miller, and the GOAT, Alexander Usyk. Even if you lose a fight against Usyk at 25, you're still going to learn so much from that experience. Daniel Dubois did just that and went on to knock out Filip Hrgović and Anthony Joshua. Daniel is in that sweet spot at 27 years old, where he's gonna go on to win a world championship without a doubt at some point in his career, and he's also going to be forced to fight the likes of Moses Itauma, but at the same time he's had that experience with fighters from the previous generation as well, such as Usyk and AJ. This may be a hot take, but when Fury, AJ, and Usyk retire, I think all the belts will change hands a lot, which is great for the heavyweight division. As much as I loved this era of heavyweight boxing, apart from the fact that they didn't fight each other, AJ, Wilder, Fury, Ruiz, and Usyk were all different and unique in terms of personality, boxing style, and what role they played in the sport. Like I said, as much as they were great, they also didn't fight each other a lot of the time. I think the next generation of heavyweights will improve on the mistakes made by the last, and Daniel Dubois is a core example of this. The cunt fought Usyk when he was in his mid-20s, for fuck's sake. He's as game as anybody. The next boxer I can imagine being up in the rankings in the next 5 years is Justice Hooney. I may be biased because I'm Australian and he's Australian, but besides his power and chin resistance being a little sus, I think generally he's a good all-round boxer. I definitely believe he can win a world title, and beating Fabio Wardley in a couple weeks will be a solid indicator of his potential in the sport. Although he just turned 30, Fabio Wardley will also be able to hang with this next generation of Daniel Dubois and Moses Itaumas. There's plenty of upcoming prospects waiting to burst onto the scene, waiting world champion opportunities. I hope they're curated and promoted correctly, and I hope they share a bit of personality as well. The great thing about Fury, Usyk, AJ Wilder, whether you like or dislike each of them, is that they had personalities, key roles in the sport. Wilder was the American villain, with everyone and their mother wanting Fury to beat him. They were all so exciting to watch in and outside the ring, and that's crucial for the next heavyweight generation to learn. Torres Jr., Caballero, the Pero brothers, Jalolov, all can secure a title in the next few years. I think the heavyweight division will be like a game of hot potato when the last generation's big players retire. Pero might nab a title, then Fabio Wardley, then Justice Hooney. However, I do believe that Moses Itauma is the brightest spark of them all, along with Triple D. Moses' power and ferociousness is fucking unbelievable, and it goes without saying that he will be champion. I mean, all of the other heavyweight champs have co-signed him. That's the best endorsement you can get. What do you think about the future of the heavyweight division? I'm talking the next 5 years or so. Let me know, and I'll catch you down the road. With them almost ready to set off into the sunset, one by one... I swear I'm not high. Fuck. That will make way for the next era to come through and make a mark on the spot. That will make way for the new era to come through and make their mark on the spot. The most talked about prospect in this new generation. Fuck! The most talked about prospect in this new generation of heavyweights is Moses Itauma.